Welcome everybody back to Brian's Action Figure Reviews, and today I've got a review not of a figure but of an action film, a movie, Spider-Man Far From Home. I went to see it, full disclosure, I went to see it last week. I was going to do a review straight away, but there's so many reviews going across the internet now, I didn't want to get lost in a mess of people giving spoilers and this, that and the other thing. So I gave it a bit of time to think it over, and okay, here's my thoughts. I went into this movie not expecting a major amount of stuff to happen. Well, I did, but I don't know what I expected really. So this is the last MCU outing until maybe, I think it's maybe May next year, a full year from now, which is a long time. Last time I think we had this much of a break, it was between one of the Thor films, I think, and Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Dark World maybe. I don't know, there was a nice break there anyway. So let's get down to the film, right? It starts off straight away with a kids news thingy, referencing the snap, as we all call it, as the blip. And they kind of made light of it a little bit and brushed it over and said, look, this is what it is. We're all moving on. And that was kind of I found a little dig at those people who say, oh, we want to see, how the people dropped out of the sky when they came back from all that hullabaloo about people who were snapped just reappearing 5 years later. Like, these are light-hearted comic book movies. We don't need to see the depressing reasons why John across the road disappeared and then 5 years later his missus has moved in with someone else and then John appears back. Who cares about that stuff? We want to see Spider-Man, we want to see heroes, we want to see all that stuff. So, Mysterio kicked off the movie. And if you haven't noticed by now, spoilers, it's in the title. Mysterio kicked off the movie fighting Rockman, or whatever he's meant to be, in Mexico. And Fury and Maria Hill showed up there first, obviously, as well. And then there was Mysterio, so doing his thing. First off, thoughts on Mysterio initially. I was blown away by the whole fishbowl head, everything, and flying around and using the green beams and stuff. It was awesome. I loved it. It's like a dream come true seeing Mysterio on the big screen. It was like playing the PlayStation years ago, doing those big boss battles when you fought Mysterio, or watching the 90s animated Fox Kids show with the illusions and all this stuff. Fucking brilliant. So, there is a lot of high school stuff in this film. It doesn't really, it doesn't really bother me, but there's a lot of people said this started off slow. Now, if any of you have worked in movies, right, there is a 3-act structure in every film. It cannot be balls to the wall the whole time, 1 hour and a half of 2 hours of constant action, because it gets boring. It does. You get worn out, you get bored. You get bored. You get boring. The movie makes you boring. But you've got to build the crescendo, I think. So the slow start, it didn't bother me too much. You got to establish where everyone is. You got to establish what they've been doing, etc., etc., etc. So let's move on to the good stuff. Story-wise, they went to Europe. The Elementals were attacking Venice first. Hydro Man was mentioned. Maury, I can't think of his name, but the actual Hydro Man was referenced. On the news, I think it was, or the kids mentioned it was, they were watching the report on the news. That scene in Venice where Peter and Mysterio fight Hydro Man was excellent. Excuse me, I love how Peter used the Carnival mask to hide his identity. The whole fight though was brilliant. I'm not going to ramble on too long here. I'm not going through the whole movie. So then we see Mysterio, and we all saw in the trailer how he mentions the multiverse and stuff, and how Nick Fury is very easily fooled by all of this. So eventually Spider-Man fails, Tony Stark has left this pair of glasses for Spider-Man called Edith. Even dead, I'm the hero, basically, was the acronym for it. And there are these glasses that basically control all of Stark Industries' weapons. And Peter uses these hilariously to try and delete a picture of himself with some Russian bird who was working for Shield or whatever Nick Fury's crowd is now. So, long story short, Spider-Man hands these glasses over to Mysterio because he doesn't feel he can fill Tony's boots. Basically, is the crux of the matter. Mysterio having a drink in Prague with Peter at the time is like, no, he gave them to you. They're yours. So it's eventually Peter gives them to them, convinces him to take them. Spider-Man walks out the door, and Jake Gyllenhaal's facade falls, and you see the whole pub even was an illusion. The bar they were in was an illusion, and Mysterio turns out to be an ex-Stark employee. Now, that was one of my main annoyances with the film, but it didn't take away from it. It was a nitpick more than anything. He had the guy, remember the guy that Jeff Bridges shouts at? He built this from a box of scraps, and your man says, I'm not Tony Stark. That guy was Jake Gyllenhaal's tech guy. So Mysterio's illusion technology came from Captain America Civil War, where Iron Man is meeting his dad in the whole illusion thing. That's where Mysterio's illusion tech comes from. Then, of course, Mysterio drops one of the projectors for one of his demons or whatever, one of his creatures. The elementals who are fake, obviously. Mysterio has been creating them using projectors. I'm rambling a lot in this review. End of the day, Mysterio and Spider-Man fight it out. And what follows is a battle unlike anything else I've seen in the MCU. It's Peter fighting a lot of illusions, including a very mad one of Tony Stark crawling out of the grave, attacking him and stuff like that. It really is savage stuff. Mysterio choking Mary Jane. So much good stuff in there. It's one of the best good guy versus bad guy fight scenes I've seen in any film in the MCU so far. And it will take some major topping as well. So we come to the end of the film. Spider-Man wins. Spoilers. Spider-Man wins. Mysterio's using all drones and stuff, and Spider-Man eventually discovers his Spidey sense, now known as his Peter Tingle. Another iffy moment, but I'm gonna let it go. So that was all fine. Mysterio's done. Spider-Man's the hero again. He's going back to New York, and then we have the credit scenes. Now, without these, take them on their own for the second. Spider-Man Far From Home is a fantastic movie. It's one of the best the MCU have done in a long time, outside of the Avengers movies. It's the best solo story we've seen in a long time. Even though Nick Fury's in it, he's not in it long. He's only in it for a little bit. It's one of the best of the MCU, I think. For me, because I didn't like Tobey Maguire and I wasn't a huge fan of Andrew Garfield, it's the best Spider-Man movie for me, and that's not exaggerating. I don't count Into the Spider-Verse because it was an animation, and I'm not a huge fan of Miles Morales anyway. So, for me, Far From Home is one of the best Spider-Man movies ever. High praise indeed, but that's how I felt. So, the credit scenes then was just the topping on the cake. J. Jonah Jameson is back, and J.K. Simmons is back as well in the role he was made. Fantastic. He made his own, and Spider-Man has taken MJ for swinging around New York, her first time ever. Puts her down, lands, and on a big TV screen, turns up JJ and reveals a clip that was probably edited to the balls of Spider-Man shooting Mysterio and Spider-Man being blamed for killing Mysterio. And that wasn't all. They then revealed to the whole city who Spider-Man was, Peter Parker. Crazy. Then the credits roll and roll and roll and roll and roll. And we get to the end. And we see Nick Fury and Maria Hill driving along. And next thing they turn into Skrulls. Talos and his wife. Wow. A lot to unpack there. Then it goes, he's on the phone to the actual Nick Fury, who is sitting on a spaceship in God knows where, and you basically get a scene of him telling Nick Fury to come home. He doesn't know what to do. The kid nearly gave away the glasses, etc., etc. So there's so much. I can't wait for San Diego Comic Con because we're going to get a new slate of movies, I hope. Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. Anyway, I've gone way over time here because I've rambled like a mong. So, if you like my review, drop a like, drop a comment, drop a subscribe if you haven't, and share it with your friends. Tell them, look at this idiot doing a review and he's talking shit for fucking 10 minutes. So, thank you very much, guys. Peace out. Love you all. And we'll catch you during the week with more mad stuff. Good luck.